Hello guys and welcome to Mangotology. If you're new here, thank you for joining me. My name is Steven Mango and I'm an ex-Scientologist that works here on YouTube to expose Scientology. So if you're new or if you haven't done so already, please make sure to go down below and click on that subscribe button as well as the bell icon right next to it so you stay notified whenever I post a new video about Scientology. So today I wanted to take you inside the mind of a Scientologist. I want to take you from the very early days of my time in Scientology and inside my mind during that time, all the way through the journey as a Scientologist, leading up to when I was a full-fledged dedicated Scientologist, die-hard on posters promoting Scientology. And I wanted to take you through the mindset of what actually goes on inside the mind. Because we always hear about people's stories and they tell us all about how they were maybe locked in a basement, in a dungeon, in the RPF, which is like a prison, and you just wonder, like, how does it get to the point where you're willing to say do slave labor for Scientology, or what goes on inside the mind that leads a person to be willing to believe or do Scientology to begin with. So I'm going to be sharing you all my thoughts and hopefully providing you a better understanding of why someone would join and be a member of the Church of Scientology. But right now, let's dive right into the mind of a Scientologist. Now, as we all know, I didn't have any family or friends or anything involved in Scientology before I joined, so I was completely new to Scientology, fresh, public, raw meat, as they would call me, and I came into Scientology through an acting workshop, as we know, and I had, like, you guys also know my story by now. I had background in the Catholic Church. I went to Catholic school from like kindergarten all the way through my senior year of high school, so I was very involved in the Catholic Church to some degree. I'd be going to church while I was in school or, you know, on Sundays and that sort of thing. And my family, all my relatives, everyone identified as a Roman Catholic. And obviously I didn't really relate as I was starting to go to church when I was growing up. I'm like, this isn't something that I really connect to. And like I've said in another video, I don't believe that I'm an atheist either, and there's no shade to anyone who is, but for me, I'm a very spiritually connected person, and I do believe in some form of a higher power. I just don't know really what that is yet, and I'm still trying to connect what my belief system is after leaving Scientology, so I don't really have the answer for you guys of what my faith is right now, but I was very young and impressionable, and that's not just the only people who get in Scientology, guys. There are people who are very successful in their field. They're doctors, they're dentists, they're lawyers. There are people who are not just some kid off the street trying to become a movie star like I was. There actually are a lot of very intelligent, smart, very upper class, educated people who are in Scientology, and they're not necessarily creepy or weird or broken people, because just like in any faith, if you're Catholic or if you're Jewish, whatever, it doesn't mean that you belong to some socioeconomic status. For example, if you are a part of a faith or anything like that, like, it wouldn't make any sense if I was to sit here and say, oh, only people who are, you know, mentally broken get torn into Scientology. We know it's a cult. We know that they do get a lot of wandering soul searcher types, and I think that I was a very big soul searcher. Yes, I wanted to be a movie star, but that's not what hooked me into Scientology, because after a while, not getting success as an actor, I would have easily just moved on to the next thing if that's all I was looking for, was to become this big actor. I know I've kind of talked about it in the sense of that was kind of one of the big draws for me, but I do really want to make it clear that that wasn't the main draw. I was in the closet, not really sure who I was as a person. I was invalidated my whole life growing up. People telling me I wasn't good enough or wasn't worthwhile enough, and I've really realized, like, as I was thinking yesterday about, like, the weird stalker situation I'm gonna get to afterwards, that I really did suffer a lot of abuse when I was younger, and I never really thought of myself as someone who was abused until I really looked at the dynamics of all my different relationships and stuff and was like, wow, every relationship besides my husband, every relationship has been abusive or toxic or has harmed me in some way. And yes, I need to work that out in therapy to figure out all of why that is. I'm not blaming everyone else. I know that I play a part in certain relationships, but, you know, when you're a kid or something and your parents, for example, or someone else talks down to you or physically, you know, hits you or assaults you or anything like that, it's not the child's fault, so you can't always blame that person. But anyways, it's not just being broken to get, you know, brought into Scientology. So when I came in here into Scientology, I say here as if like I'm in an org right now, like actually guys, I went back to Scientology. This is my holding cell. They forced me to make videos about Scientology. No, but really, when I was in Scientology in the beginning, people actually were showing me love and saying that they believed in me and caring about me and saying I was a part of them and their family, when I was always the oddball. I was the weird gay actor, vegetarian, socially awkward person that didn't fit in this world, and very, I would say, empathic and very connected to my feelings and stuff like that. And I think as a guy, as you know, I don't like to believe in gender roles, like men are more hard and women are more sensitive, but for me I was very, very sensitive, and I wasn't really in the norm in that regard. So I was just very misunderstood. I was very hurt, and anything used to set me off because I was so used to being torn down. So here I am going in this place and they're saying, you are amazing, you are special. So why would I believe my upbringing, for example? Why would I believe them when they're so mean to me? So even if someone's like, Scientology's a cult, whatever, it's like, you're the people who used to be harming me. Why would I believe what you have to say? Especially on religion or something like that. But why would I believe that that person's correct when here I am in this new environment in LA, in Hollywood, like trying to be this actor. All of a sudden now I have these people telling me I can make it, I'm good enough, I'm talented, I'm nice, I'm funny, I have a good heart, all these different nice things. And I'm like, yeah, I believe that I'm all of those type of things. Why has no one believed it but Scientology up until this point? Like, these people are actually really nice. So I'm not going to trust anyone in my old life. And this is kind of like where the indoctrination and brainwashing happens. I'm not going to believe my old life because that is toxic, negative, and here I am, and I'm almost feeling like these people are like my family as the first initial couple weeks begin. So when you're in Scientology as well, very early on, which correlates to what I just said, they're going to introduce the idea of suppressive persons pretty much in the first like 2 or 3 courses. My very first course, which is kind of an odd first course to start on maybe, was self-analysis, which is one of the basic books and lectures, which they don't put you on the basics right away nowadays in Scientology. They start you off on one of the introductory Scientology tools for better living type of $50 courses that are like how to communicate, whatever, because those are more easily acceptable. I actually dove right in because that was in 2009 before those courses were re-released and were made as like the initial first person selling point. So I didn't get on those right away. I got right into like the meat of Scientology on self-analysis. And yeah, I guess it is kind of a basic book, but it's not, I wouldn't say start someone if I was in Scientology on self-analysis or Dianetics. Like, you have to ease someone in. But eventually, when I got to some of the more elementary courses, I was kind of doing middle to high school level courses when I first started, if that kind of gives you guys a better idea of my indoctrination period. But I started hearing the term antisocial personality. So it's different than just say suppressive person. It's just another, it's the same thing, but they say antisocial personality. It doesn't mean antisocial, like I might be antisocial and not like to go in social settings and meet people. It's not that. An antisocial personality is someone like I was describing, someone who tears you down, who's always someone who might smile to your face and stab you in the back, somebody who does not want good, who might be on substances or drugs, and just everything you know of what a suppressive person is. Antagonistic, specifically towards Scientology, and it always somehow has to be that the person is antagonistic towards Scientology. They could be good in every way, but if the person is antagonistic towards Scientology, then that makes them a suppressive person. Like, why can't the person be antagonistic about Scientology and not be a suppressive person and still be just a good, kind-hearted person, but just doesn't believe in the faith? Scientology will deem anyone antagonistic equals suppressive person, which doesn't make any sense to me. But I started hearing that term, antisocial personality, and they started telling me, like, who doesn't believe in you? Who doesn't want you to be successful? And I think at Celebrity Center specifically, this is easy to rope people in more than anyone else in any other org, because most people who are new to Hollywood, yeah, you might have some people who support you, but for the most part, your mom and your dad want you to go to school, become a doctor, a dentist, like whatever, and contribute to society in that way, unless they are a creative, artistic person, which I know my family wasn't. And I know a lot of people's families don't just support them going off and being some wandering, starving artist type. So I was honest with them, and I would tell them, like, these specific people in my life don't believe in me or whatever, and they're like, oh, well, write that up. And I'd start writing these different reports in my course, my course room about different people who don't believe in me. And Scientology is like, Steven, you are so talented. You are basically, like I said in other videos, like the next Tom Cruise. In not so many words, that's basically what they said. That you can become a movie star, that you can get your own television show, whatever you want. Out of anyone else here, you have it. Now, anyone now can look at them and see it's an easy manipulation tactic, but when you're an artist type, you believe so greatly in yourself that you're willing to move across the country to be an actor, right? So of course I thought I was talented. So someone else reinforcing that, I'm like, oh, it's true that I'm the chosen one, that I'm the special one. So then again, remember guys, early days, I was the chosen, invited person. I'm the most talented. They're going to unleash my creativity, my powers. They found my ruin. I was shy. I had anxiety, panic attacks, all these different things. But we can change all of that. We can get you to unleash your inner powers and get rid of all these fears and things holding you back. So Scientology tells you about the reactive mind and your analytical mind. The analytical mind's like a computer. It stores and computes data. The reactive mind is essentially that part of your mind that has your fears, your pains, your upsets. You get in a car accident and you get mauled over by the car, and it's a red car. You might see a red car driving down the street and start getting panic, and you don't know why. But really, it's because you have a prior, earlier incident of trauma, which is stored in your reactive mind of that car hitting you. Just like if you get bit by a dog, pit bull. You see a pit bull, you might tense up, and you don't even know, like, oh, my back is tense. It's because you saw the pit bull, and subconsciously it triggers these reactive mind thoughts. So that made so much sense to me because I had a lot of these fears and neuroses and different things that were haunting me. So when I heard that I was able to get rid of them through a process of auditing, I actually started to feel comforted. So remember in the early days of Scientology, guys, what I'm trying to convey to you is that you're taught a new way of thinking and you get involved into this world, and it becomes us against them. Us as Scientologists versus everyone else in the world who aren't enlightened, who don't know what we're doing. We are the special people who found Scientology. And later I was told that I was possibly a past life Scientologist, where I might have been a Scientologist in the 50s through the 80s or sometime in that period before I was born in 1991, and then I was reborn and I'm basically refinding Scientology again. So that really made sense to why I so greatly believed in it for so many years versus other people who might have been scared off. I truly for some reason believed that I was like rejoining Scientology after doing it in a past life, which sounds crazy, but I do believe in some form of reincarnation. I don't know if it's necessarily how Scientology describes it or how Buddhists describe it, but I believe that our spirits do live on in some way, and we're more than just our physical body because we feel in such a spiritual way a connection to our world and our universe and sometimes other people or animals. And I do know that our world is comprised of something greater than us, no matter if you believe so or not. For me, in my mind, what we look around and we see is so incredible that it can't be more than like some atom exploding. I don't know. I'm not gonna debate that. I'm not, some philosophical person about like Big Bang theories and that sort of stuff. So let's just get back into Scientology. So us against them. And eventually, as you're asking me for money and different things, I'm being told that this is something that people in the outside world won't understand. And it's almost like, don't tell other people because they don't know, right? These people need to come into Scientology, but we have to disseminate to them. So we need money in Scientology so we can grow and continue to flourish and prosper and bring Scientology to people of different nations and countries and languages. And, you're now enlightened and know enough about Scientology to start accepting that responsibility of our planet. And to put that on anyone, that pressure that like it's up to me to save the world. But like I've told you guys before, like when they ask you for tens of thousands of dollars, like how can you do it? Well, Steve, your car, it's just mess. Matter, energy, space, and time. Same as your house, same as, jewelry, just anything, right? It's messed. So you can buy a $35,000 Mercedes. How long is that going to last you? 8 years maybe, or I don't know, 10 years maybe? Okay, great. The planet's billions of years old. So yeah, you can drive your fancy Mercedes and flash it around, have a nice house, apartment. That's all well and good. But why would you want to have all that stuff that only lasts a couple years and spend all that money when you can say go up to clear on the bridge for maybe say $75,000? And that's going to last you an eternity. And that's going to unleash you as a spiritual being forever from the chains and the restrictions that you're facing. You can now be spiritually free and enlightened. And it's like, oh, that makes actually a lot of sense. Like, I'm not going to be able to maybe do this in another lifetime. Maybe Scientology won't be here or something. And we need to be able to take the responsibility to go up the bridge now when we have the opportunity. So you start getting brainwashed like that. So in my mind, as I'm starting to meet people, say I'm in the early stage doing my Purif, where you're sweating out drugs and toxins and alcohol. They didn't put anyone on it, even if you just have a Tylenol in your whole life. If you live in LA, there's smog. They'll say you have smog. You have to be able to sweat it out in the sauna. So like, for example, when I'm there and I'm starting to meet other entertainment people and other actors or other wannabe people, it's like, wow, like we're all on this team together. So then you start feeling in Scientology in your mind that you're on this team. So now picture other people in the world, say in the media, say Anderson Cooper is doing a special on Scientology or whatever. You're thinking those are our enemies. It's not the truth. So just like Leah Remini's show now, or anyone that's watching those sort of things, that's not the truth. Those are our enemies spreading lies, who are funded by big pharma, who are part of these pharmaceutical companies, who are part of this dangerous mission to take down Scientology, because they're trying to get us on these psych drugs and other pharmaceuticals to keep us kind of like caved in and hypnotized by psychiatry and other dangerous individuals as part of the medical industry. So if we just succumb to saying, yes, we're depressed, and taking on a label, we might go on these drugs, whatever, and they're funding these television networks and different programs. So of course they're going to have like a Leah Remini on there talking hate about Scientology, because they say Scientology causes so much freedom that the psychiatrists and stuff would be out of business if people are doing Scientology. So therefore they have to take down psychiatry so Scientology can continue to create freedoms and an oasis of freedom for all of mankind. So eventually, when I'm starting to meet more Scientologists and becoming friends with them, working with them, whatever, I don't want to listen to the media. I don't want to watch the news. So many people don't get that. They ask me all the time, like, why don't you just Google Scientology? Well, those are our enemies in the world. Those people aren't telling the truth. They're just bitter, disgruntled apostates who are doing this for fame, money, attention, who are being paid by the pharmaceutical industry. Of course, why would I trust those people? They obviously were former Scientologists who got bitter about whatever reason, and they weren't meant to do Scientology, so they left. So that's why they're now speaking out against it, because they don't want anyone else to have that level of freedom, because they know how powerful Scientology is. So of course in your mind you're thinking, well, that must be so true. So I'm not going to trust the media, I'm not going to trust my family, I'm not going to trust my friends. So then you kind of pull back and you go deeper into Scientology, you sink down into it. I don't know what the greatest analogy would be, but you get more deeper and deeper and deeper involved. So you start sinking into Scientology, and it's like quicksand, and you're starting to get more and more deeper involved, and you can't come back to the surface even if you want to, because Scientology has pulled you right in where they want you to be. So I started getting more and more involved in courses over the months, donating more money. And we're still in the period of time where, you know, you get to a point where you think Scientology is the answer for everything. So again, now I'm cutting off family and friends. I'm not talking to people because I believe Scientology is the greatest thing for humanity. So yeah, I kind of thought it was weird that they'd ask for a lot of money or were homophobic and different things that I was kind of like repressing. But on the other hand, why would I want to come out of the closet or something and ruin my spiritual eternity at this point? If I truly believe L. Ron Hubbard has the answers for everything, why am I then going to listen to the voice in the back of my head or the internet or anything like that? Because those people don't really know what we're doing. And it's so much greater than myself, because when you're on the cans and you're going up the bridge, you're reaching levels of spiritual freedom that, you know, could never been seen before existed, and apparently can't be achieved anywhere else than Scientology. And you believe L. Ron Hubbard's the source of everything. So I'm not going to read the news, because the news isn't source. L. Ron Hubbard is. Scientology is. Their policy letters, bulletins, anything that comes out in magazines, that's like the word of God, essentially. And you believe it so much more than a Catholic believes in the Word of God. You believe this as how you live every moment of your life. And yeah, maybe there are some Catholics and people who do live every step of their life according to the Bible, but Scientology is like everything from like the vitamins you take down to the milligram. All those type of things are dictated in your Scientology coursework. So you believe that that's what you have to do. And yes, I believed essentially that this was the salvation of mankind. So this is when nothing at this point in your Scientology mind, nothing can shake it. This is why, like, I could go to Big Blue and start telling them people are being locked up against their will. You know, there's all these harmful abuses and they took money from me. Like, why don't you believe me? It's like, okay, they might have even witnessed some of those things, but they can't because Scientology is so powerful in the mind that you live your whole life like that. Could you imagine being in the outside world and not having Scientology tools to better yourself? It's almost like it's impossible to even believe that that's even a possibility to do. And I was fully 100% on board. And like, I even remember I was on set once for a TV show and there was someone like joking about Scientology. And I really wanted to be on that TV show as an actor. I was just like a stand-in or background person that day. So I didn't tell off this actor because I didn't want production to oversee it. And I would have maybe on a different television show, but I wanted to be on this show for whatever reason. So I kept my mouth shut and I wanted to get paid that day. So I didn't say anything. But you know, you really truly want to defend Scientology at all costs because you think that if people have a negative impression, they're going to spread falsehoods about Scientology, which is going to prevent more people from coming in the door. I eventually start, kind of questioning, and I think every Scientologist goes through this period where they start questioning like what has been going on, is it true or not? Because I'm not getting like, say, like the wins and gains, because at every Scientology level there's a specific end phenomena. So like grade 0, communicating with anyone on any subject, right? And it's told that once you achieve grade 0, that's your end result. So no matter what, you're going to achieve that because Scientology is like an exact science. So in the early days, like say I was in Dianetics auditing, and I've had like traumas and different things happen to me, but when I've relived it over and over and over again, picking up different smells and somatics and different things that come up and eventually getting to an earlier similar incident to blow the charge, then I'm like, wow, like I don't have this pain and suffering any longer. So then once you have those wins in Scientology, that's what's also very dangerous, because you think, well, why wouldn't I achieve cause over life at OT8, for example? Why wouldn't I have that if I achieve these earlier levels? If I got actually that end phenomena, why wouldn't I achieve it at OT8? Now, cause over life in Scientology, you have to really look a little bit deeper into it. It's cause over life, meaning you put yourself in a causative point over your life where you can handle problems, you can handle the workplace, you can handle relationships through Scientology tools. It's not like you become a superhuman where you can walk through walls. Scientology wants to sell it that way, but you have to realize Scientology is very literal. Like when you look at words and stuff, they do word clearing and different things like that. So they use words very carefully and they mean the literal thing. So cause over life just means that, doesn't mean you're not going to have problems. It doesn't mean you're not going to be able to have accidents or problems and stuff. You're just going to be able to be more in a causative point than be at an effect where you're like the victim of your life. So again, like these end phenomena in Scientology sound really glamorous, but like being able to talk to anyone on any subject. It's like I can go and talk to my family about torturing donkeys, whatever. Like, yes, I can talk to them about any subject such as torturing donkeys, but it doesn't mean that it's always socially acceptable. But that's for another video if you want me to analyze the bridge to total freedom and tell you what's true and what's not. But once you start having those wins, you believe that the whole bridge is true. But eventually when you start doing more like higher level Scientology, you start saying, oh, like I am still shy. Like I did grade 0, but I still feel like I can't talk to anyone on any subject. I still get anxiety and my heart pounds when I talk to people, so I don't have that. So then you start questioning Scientology. And you might look online, but you still know that if you do that, or you go and you see a psychiatrist or mental health practitioner, then you're going to be banned from ever doing Scientology again. So eventually, as they're asking me for tens of thousands of dollars, I'm starting to feel like there's something wrong with me. And every Scientologist experiences this. There's something wrong with me. Look at everyone else. They're happy. Even though you're supposed to walk around the organ acting like you're clear, acting like you're smiling, and you're like on top of the world. So then eventually you think everyone else really is feeling so happy and joyful all the time. So then you think something must be wrong with me because I don't feel that way. I truly don't feel like, at cause. and I'm like this happy-go-lucky, perfect person that everyone else is. Something must be wrong with me. It must be because I'm secretly gay, or it might be because I overran a process, I underran a process. I try to get off the Purif a little bit earlier and I still have toxic residuals in my body. Like, I don't know, I'm not good at TRs going, do birds fly? Good. Do fish swim? Got it. Do birds fly? Good. Do fish swim? All right. Do birds fly? Got it. Do fish swim? Okay. Like, literally, that's like one of the drills that you do. Do birds fly, do fish swim, and you do an acknowledgement between. And it's like, I was never good at those either. And I'm just like, wow, like something must be really wrong with me, because Scientology is, you see people come in the course room like holding out these certificates like, I just attested to grade 3 or whatever, and everyone's like, hip hip hooray, clapping, and everyone's so happy and proud of these people, and they seem like they're doing well in life. Why am I not? Why am I not successful? Why am I not the actor that they told me I could be? Why am I not happy? Why am I not financially wealthy after I'm doing money courses in Scientology? Like, something's wrong. And then eventually start like having like that downward slope, like, okay, it's not me. You blame yourself even after you leave that it's like a problem with you, but you come to a point where you're like, this is criminal. Like, when they're taking my social security number and my credit cards and running them up for tens of thousands of dollars, no normal church does that. That's not like a real thing that should be happening. So I started to realize like there's some things like really wrong. It's not normal for your church to want to build these $15 million cathedrals and bleeding their parishioners who say they have no money. Then they say like, oh, the money's going to go and help all these other people. Well, why aren't you willing to help me? You want me to help all these people, and yes, it's great to help others, but what happens when I'm sinking under the weight of burden that you're putting on my life? Like, clearly, you're saying you care about people. Why can't you care about the parishioner who's sitting right in front of you who's having trouble in their life? And for years, I felt like maybe I was the failure, that Scientology is an exact science, but I'm the failure because it didn't work for me, or it's not working how they say it's supposed to work. So I talk about, too, this idea of, I don't remember if I mentioned in my last video, so sorry if I repeat myself. Maybe you guys didn't see that video, but in terms of being labeled a suppressive person, once you're labeled a suppressive person, and if you think that you're going to leave, whatever, you're going to get cut off of all your friends, all your family, you're going to not have your job, if you work for a Scientologist or live with the Scientologist, you're going to get evicted. You can only go through Scientology's justice. You can't sue another Scientologist. So they have all these different rules in place. So I felt like if I was to leave Scientology, I'm going to lose everything that I knew and what I thought. And I believed that this was a spiritual science. And I'm going to lose all of that and everything I knew as an adult coming to LA. And Scientology was the one that uplifted me in the first couple weeks. And I just chased that feeling the whole time over the years when I started doing more Scientology and realizing that it's not all what it's actually cracked up to be. Now, also remember, guys, there's being interrogations done on you too. So you're always feeling like you're guilty in some way, and later on I'm like, why were they always so suspicious of me? But it's like, obviously they have to, because they know of what there's people like Steve Mango out there who might expose them, so they have to try to at least go on their e-meter, which I'll do a video if the e-meter works or not, guys. I'll show you more about e-meters. If anyone has an e-meter they want to mail to me, maybe from your time in Scientology, and you want me to debunk it on my channel, feel free. I will give you my shipping address and I'll demonstrate e-meter stuff to you guys on my channel. So if anyone has a spare e-meter, let me know and I will pay for the shipping even to cover it over to Los Angeles. So I was under these interrogations being asked, am I a spy? Am I doing any illicit dime buying? Have I ever enslaved a population? Am I a spy? Do I have government clearance? All these different questions. And you feel like you're almost in this like secret society mission. And that's what I also liked about Scientology in like a weird way, that I liked living in this fantasy because it was like an escape from my real life, which was problems, trying to pursue a career, finding myself as this 18-year-old kid. I didn't want that. I wanted an escape. And it was nice to feel this like world around me that felt like, I'm on this e-meter and it's kind of secretive, and they're asking me all these questions to see if I'm, trustworthy to be in their group. And then they're going to open up and give me like the secrets of the universe, and all these big celebrities do it. And I'm going to come here and I have all these friends, and it's this theta environment where it's like so spiritual. It's almost like a magnetic wave around the org. So when you go in there, you get more spiritually charged. And I'm believing all these different things. And I felt like I was in the secret world. So it was almost like an escape. That eventually, like I said in my video yesterday, when you leave, it's almost like, what do you do with your life when you're so used to being a part of this like secret society mission? Then you come and you're sitting in your bedroom and, you know, you're on Facebook all day long and you're just like, is this all my life is? Like browsing the internet, or like going out and going to dinner at the mall and coming home and having like a $12.95 eggplant parmesan special at Maggiano's at the Grove? Like, is that all that my life is really supposed to be? So that is what the ex-Scientologist mind is. But you're also always fearful that, you know, if you get sick, if anything happens to you in that regard, that they're going to then label you a potential trouble source, and you're basically having to do ethics work and whatever. Because if you, like, I got hit by a car once, and another time my car got vandalized and I had to go and put Way to Happiness booklets on everyone's car in my apartment complex. I had to pay and put booklets on everyone's car because there was a vandalizer, and I felt like I pulled in that horrible person to our apartment complex, so therefore I need to go spread the word of the Way to Happiness to bring enlightenment and happiness to people all over the world, or at least all over my apartment complex in West Hollywood. So I did that, and again, it's always like, you're wrong. You got sick. You're the potential trouble source. You're not understanding Scientology. You're evil. You thought something bad about Scientology. You saw our news program. You watched something on television. You're connected to someone who's suppressive. Your family, like, you always are thinking that the problems that are going on are because you can't find whatever this mystery secret person is that's holding Scientology as horrible to you, and then you're going to cause yourself to get sick and get hurt and these different things. It's like, it doesn't really work that way, Scientology. Sometimes there's germs in the environment, especially when you're anti-vax and you don't vaccinate people and then they get sick. It's like, yeah, because you don't vaccinate. But again, do what you want if you want to vaccinate or not. I know people are against it. I know that there's chemicals and different things in these vaccinations, possibly, whatever. But I'm just telling you guys from Scientology's point of view, they don't want to take responsibility that there's such thing as like real sickness and other things. So I didn't go to doctors. I didn't go to therapists. I didn't go to psychologists. I didn't open up and tell anyone about what I was going through. And it was really a scary time in my life. And as I'm talking to you, turning on the camera, I'm like, wow, like, it's actually like, when I'm thinking about what I've been through in even more detail, and the mindset's like so abusive how they make you as always the person. That's why I always had bad self-esteem, because I was always told that I was the problem. I was the one who's pulling in all these horrible things to happen to myself. And then eventually Scientology starts feeling comfortable to ask you to, say, for example, go on Facebook and like spy on different members to make sure they're staying in line, or they'll ask you to lie for them. Like, I've had fundraisers where they say pretend to donate money because someone's going to be matching donations. So if we have you pretend you're going to donate $20,000, someone's going to actually donate the 20 grand because you are donating. So they start asking you to do these different things, and you wonder, like, why is the church asking me to lie about giving money in order to extort money out of someone else? So then you start going against your own ethics, even though Scientology is saying that's making you more ethical to do these things that are unethical. So eventually I started waking up to, like, this is not working. So it went from it being like the greatest thing, they love you, whatever, to them starting to be like, you're with us or you're against us, and like, you're evil, like, we're putting around the e-mirror. Why did your needle not float on this question? Why, you know, did you not show up to the org for a couple weeks or a couple months or something? So then they start showing up to your home, knocking on your door. They start charging your credit cards against your will and all these different things. So then later on, when you decide to leave, you're threatened that if you speak out or say anything, then you're going to get declared a suppressive person and lose everything that you've had. And that takes us to yesterday's video of being inside the mind of an ex-Scientologist, about what happens when you get declared and you become suppressive, and the mind games that happen that you play with yourself. But when you're actually in Scientology, you really do believe that, for example, when you're in an auditing session and your needle floats, oh wow, like, great, he had a freedom from his reactive mind there. He blew some charge. So then you actually believe that Scientology works. So it's very hard to unbrainwash yourself from that mind of thinking when you give so much importance to the e-meter, the auditor, and the auditing questions, because you actually think that you're doing some like super godly type of procedure, which is auditing, that is like so scientific and exact spiritually that it's the only way to get out of our spiritual trap. So when you have that mindset, you're willing to steal, lie, sue, like do anything to protect Scientology and to get more money to go up the bridge. Even if I didn't have money, even if I didn't do things, I really truly felt that I would be able to become spiritually free, that yeah, I might spend $300,000, but you know, I'll make millions because I'm going to be able to be so unleashed as a person. And yes, there's brainwashing procedures and other things, and I'm going to go into that in another video, like what Scientology says to brainwash people. And there's very specific commands and different things that they do that I feel like really put people underneath their spell. But it's always you're the problem, you need to spend more money. These books, like, of course you would want them. Any normal sane person wants to go all the way up to OT8. Why aren't you showing up every single day? This is the most important thing you can do. It's like Scientology doesn't realize, like, some people have lives outside of their faith. They can't spend 7 days a week. It can't be all or nothing. Like, there has to be some like middle area, and Scientology expects full and total devotion 7 days a week, at least a minimum of 2.5 hours on course. And it's like, that's like almost 20 hours a week of my life that I could be becoming the actor I want to be, or being, you know, whatever, seeing friends, going out in the town, whatever. Like, I feel like I wasted some of my young adult life, and I'm not at the place I want to be in my life now, even as a YouTuber, actor, whatever, because I, you know, set myself up not really in the best way because I got detoured by Scientology. That's why I tell you guys, like, subscribe, whatever. Like, it's like such a passion and dream of mine to be a YouTuber, and my goal is 100,000 subscribers because I want to set like a goal and like achieve something in the outside world, because I haven't really as an adult outside of Scientology. Like, I got my hairdressing license, but it's like I didn't really fulfill like a big goal or passion. So that's why YouTube is one thing, and being an activist and having this platform, this is actually, I feel like, what I'm meant to do, is like help people. And maybe I will become a life coach. Someone told me I should do that at one point on my channel. It's like, maybe I'll do stuff like that. I don't know. I think that was just like the gist of it for the most part, just so you guys understand that there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Scientology is your whole entire life, and you're willing to defend it to the core of your being because you so truly believe this is the only way out of our spiritual trap. So just know that when you're talking to a Scientologist, if a family or friend is, you know, that's why it's hard to wake people up from it, because it encompasses every aspect of their life. And if they leave, they're going to get banished from their true eternity. If you do like these videos, guys, please give these videos a thumbs up. Make sure, like I said, you are subscribed, turning on your bell notification so you don't miss any of these long-winded rambling videos. I know a lot of you guys say you like the sound of my voice. It's soothing. You just listen to me ramble and talk, and you guys like it. Some of you guys don't. So I'll put the ramblings at the end of the video now, so during the beginning you can get what you came for, whatever the topic or title of the video is, and at the end we can kind of chit-chat for you guys who like just to hang out with me and just listen to me talk. So anyways, guys, that was a long video and what I wanted to share with you today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.